Hey campers, Georgia, back in the man cave. Don't know where Mary is. She was here, but she left again. But hey, trying to decide what I want to do today. And it's a nice day today. It's overcast, probably a little bit of snow. So I think I'm going to stay in. I was looking at all my projects, and then I thought, you know what? Something I haven't done. And that is showed you some of my favorite fixed blades. Yeah, I do have fixed blades, more than you think. So, let's check them out. Now that I said I'm going to do that, I better get them out. I'm going to have to sort through them, pick the ones that I want to show you, because while I'm doing that, get yourself a cup of coffee. We got some blades to look at. Okay, trying to decide how I'm going to show you these. This is probably 60% of my fixed blade collection. I just pulled out knives, laid them out here with some sort of idea. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, there's a lot. So what I'm going to do is just go through each one real quick with you, so you can see. A lot of them were gifts. Between you and me, on my budget, 90% of these knives I can't afford. And yep, Keith is the biggest donator. The man is generous to a fault. So I owe a lot to him. And some of the other ones I bought, and some were mail calls, that sort of thing. So here we go. So I lay them out kind of random, starting with maybe what I would consider older, more traditional, more well-known knives, and then going on to some newer styles, unusual ones. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while or looked at my videos, I did a lot of camping back in the day, on my own, solo camping, and I carried different knives as I went along. And I will show you some of those and tell you what my choice would be if you're thinking of a camp knife, a modern one anyway. So the first one here is this guy here. And I believe this is an Ontario, a 1994 Ontario knife. Now, this was a mail call recently. You probably saw it. I think it was, I have a note in here. And it was a mail call from Tony. And one of the reasons I wanted to show you this is if you look at these knives, it's a fixed blade. Look at the size compared to the others. Now, that's a personal preference for me. This knife, you know what? I'm going to put my camera on a tripod. Hold on. Okay, here I have it here on my tripod, and hopefully this will help. This is, like I said, in Ontario, and it came in a mail call. And one of the reasons I really like this knife, first of all, this is a nice sheath. It's well made. I personally am a dangler fan. I like a dangler. I find myself on my knees, crawling around, doing things like that. And having a knife on you, hanging on your belt, a dangler, just makes it easier. I find it doesn't get in the way as much, and it keeps the knife pretty much in a vertical position. But this sheath has a sharpening stone with it, and it has the clip, okay, which is a good thing to have, especially if you're an active person. Your knife won't fall out. Now the knife, the reason I like this knife, and it is pretty traditional, you've all seen this style. Like I said, this is an Ontario. I believe it's a 94. Tells me somewhere. Yeah, 5th month 94, 1994. And it has the leather handle on it, and this one has been modified. Typically, when you have stacked leather like this, it's really tight and it's smooth, and you lose the grip when it gets wet. This style, you can see. During the Second World War, a lot of the complaints were about that, and what guys did was exactly what's been done to this. They put grooves in it, and it really improves the grip. Here is the knife in my hand. It's a perfect fit for my hand. I have that wide grubby with no fingers. And you can tell a good grip, because when you hold it, your fingers should touch your pad. It's a good size. The blade is a nice size. It's not a huge knife. It's not as big as these two, or even that one. It's a nice size for me, and I feel I can handle it. This is thick enough, heavy enough to handle just about any camp chore you need for a camp knife. Very nice knife. Really like this one. Now this one is a beast. And you can see it has that very plain old style sheath. Unfortunately, the snap has broken. Hopefully I'll eventually get to redo the sheath. I might make a new one or restore this one and put a new clip on there. We'll see. But this is pretty well known. If you look, it is a Cattaraugus 225Q. Can you see that? 225 quartermaster knife. World War II era fighting knife, utility knife, do everything knife. It is huge, weighs a ton, and you can see just how thick and mean this blade is. Okay, and it has the stacked leather. You can see the butt for banging on things, and you could do anything you wanted with this. Very well known, sought after knife, and I believe, but I'm not sure, it came from Keith. It's a beauty. For me personally though, it's a little bit too heavy and the blade's a little bit too long. But very cool knife. Very cool. Now this guy is pretty big. Probably one of the bigger knives I own. Once again, a gift. And I believe this is not the original sheath, but it fits. And this one, you know me, I am a Camillus fanboy. And that's what this is. Now just look at this knife. This blade, it has the swedge on here which gives you a nasty, nasty point. And nice big deep sweep. The stacked leather handle, and you can see this one. So what I'm talking about, they grooved them out. Originally they did not have that. The model of this, I have no idea. If you do, in the comments below. Very nice knife. Solid. These knives were designed to take some serious abuse. So very cool. And it's a Camillus, you know what I mean. And while we're still talking about military style, military influence, I have this one, and this came from Keith. And it is a replica of the Kabar US Marine Corps fighting knife. And it came with this very cool box and everything. And back in the day, you paid that much. Ha! I wish. And you can see it has all the information on it. Very cool, the design and all that, the specs for it. And it is a very nice knife. Look at this. Look at this sheath. And like I said, it is a replica. It's not an original. When I say replica, it was made for Kabar. Based on the old style Second World War, I believe. Maybe Korea, Vietnam. Same thing again, stacked leather, but I believe it came like this. Very cool knife. Very typical, based on military spec style. And of course it's got the US Marine Corps, Kabar, Olean, New York. And this sheath is very cool with all the info on it. But I just wanted to show you this one quickly, because it is still that military influence style. Now this one here I think is going to shock a lot of people. Like I said, I'm a budget guy. There is no way that I could own one of these. And yep, Keith. This is, brace yourself, a Randall. Yep. You know those ones that people will put a deposit down for and wait 6 years for it to arrive? I'm not sure I'm going to be around in 6 years. Very nice. These things are so well made. I can see why people buy them. Look at this sheath. And of course you got your oil stone. Very nice sheath. No dangler. Interesting design there, the way they did that. Normally this would be a loop, but they didn't. They like stack it. Very cool. And here is the beastie. And you can see Randall, handmade, hand sanded, whatever they do to shine these things up. And sharp. Very slicey. I believe this is the Model 14, and when you order them, you can order different things with it. I believe Keith said he didn't want multiple finger grips. He just wanted one because he found that, you know, he's a big guy. They never match his hand, so he just wanted the one. Has this heavy-duty brass, I forget the name, which just saves you, stops your hand from slipping on it, etc. A beautiful, heavy, heavy knife. You can see the handle here. Beautiful knife. They're expensive, and the weight just kills me. But, you know what? They're popular, and you can see why. Very cool. Excuse the state of these knives. My bad. About every 6 months I'll go through, clean them all up, get rid of any build-up or anything like that on it. I'm about due to do that. I've got to go through all my knives, so there's that. Excuse their condition. The next one we're talking about here is not a USA-made knife. This is German. Puma knife makers, to the world, handmade, made in Germany. You can see the info here. Comes in this plastic box, which is really cool. And it says Puma first richtig Handarbeit. Yeah, that's about as good as I can get. Anywho, yep, if you're wondering, Keith again. And this, I've got to tell you, is a knife. A beautiful knife. Here is the sheath. You can see it's in really good condition. And these are pricey. Very nice. And here it is here. And you can see the handle is bone. Stag. Solid handles. Interesting. Look at the blade and look how thin that handle is. And look how well it fits my hand. Now, I'm just going to say that I'm not a big fan of stag, and if you look here, these actually stick out. And with heavy use, the stag design of the handle and these things will become what you call a hot spot on your hand. But if you wear gloves, you can get away with it. Personally, I will never use this knife. This is worth more than Mary. No, well, almost. And if you look on them here, this should tell you all about them. I just want to show you this. And then on the blade here, I have to find it. There it is. If you look very carefully, handmade in Germany, the number is 6375 Puma White Hunter. There's a couple of different kinds. Once again, a very pricey knife. Beautiful though, wonderful gift. I don't want to look up how much these are worth. Now this one here is a little different, but it is, believe it or not, a military influence. And when I take it out, you'll see what I'm talking about here. Here's the sheath. Very nice. Very nice sheath. And when you take it out, look at that. Look at this blade. Double-edged, dagger style, bone handle with some stacked leather and a butt on it. And this, I got to find it. There it is there. It's really hard to see. And it's a William Rogers of Sheffield, England. And if on top there it says out of my way, which is hilarious. But what it is a military spec style British fighting knife for the military. And you can see the dagger. It's a very recognizable shape. This handle is sticky as ever. And I want to say it's not uncommon for the British to use this style in the military. I believe there was a gentleman, I believe he was a captain in the Hong Kong police force. Back in the day, he designed a couple of knives that became extremely popular, and they used the same shape, and they were considered a military fighting knife. He offered it to the military, and they said no, but they were so popular, people bought them anyway. But then you look at this, and this is a military style fighting knife from in the British war eras. How old it is, I'm not sure. I have no way to date it. I haven't looked it up. But a little different, and it is a very nice knife. Slicey and dangerous. Now I've got these guys here, which are, I want to say, camping style knives, outdoor adventure style type knives. The first one here is once again a personal preference. No, I have a soft spot for these. Here you can see the sheath. It's pretty sturdy leather sheath, and that's my problem. Camillus. So it's made in the USA. This is a more modern knife. This blade shape, interesting. It's almost wants to be a Nessmuk versus a Mora style Scandi grind. Not a fan of plastic handles. When they get wet, they're never good. But could make a nice handle for this. And you can see here, 2001, Camillus, New York, USA. And you know, Camillus went out of business in 2009, I believe. So this was a late model for them. Nice big tang on it. Very slicey. Sharp as ever. Nice knife. Very solid sheath. One of my projects I'd like to do is replace the handle with something like maybe G10 or wood. Something like that. This one here is a vintage. A nice sheath, nothing fancy. A very basic sheath. The one thing you'll notice is it does not have a blade guard in the sheath here, which is never a good thing. Two reasons: they have snaps in here, and eventually that blade is going to scrape against those snaps, which is sad. But, you know, it's something, the opportunity's there. They had this coming all the way down and stopped it there. They should have just taken it all the way. But, you know, manufacturing, what do I know? That's what I would have done, but it would have been a one-off. And here it is. And you can see here, it is a Hammer brand. Yep. Pretty cool, right? How old is this guy? And you can see there, oops, very cool, nice old guy. And I have a note, and this comes from, I have a note here saying HH Hammerbrand 9, no, HH9. Oh, I have the information on it, 1938 to 1941. And I just can't remember where it came from. I believe it was a mail call. I don't know. My memory is not what it used to be. But very cool. A nice little vintage. Two reasons I put this one in here. One, it has a Kydex sheath. Not a fan of Kydex. There's nothing wrong with it. They're very good and they work really well. If you push on there, it'll pop out nicely and it sticks in there well, and you can get a lot of options for a Kydex sheath. I'm old school. I like leather. It's just what I prefer. And the other reason is you can see the shape of the blade here. It has that swedge on it. It's nice and thick. It has, they all tend to have that jimping on it. And this is, yep, another Camillus. 154 cm USA, CQB1. And it says, Robert Trezula, I think his name is, designed it. Pretty cool. Have no idea who he is, but somebody who knows what he's doing. And it has this, what's the word, Mikado? Very grippy. Nice knife. Unusual blade shape. Has the swedge to give you that nasty point. Lanyard hole, all the good stuff. But I just wanted to show you Kydex, and it's a Camillus. Now we're going to look at some of, I want to say, more modern knives. And I chose this one because I have a lot of them. See, it says BPS knives. They're out of Ukraine. And about 6 or 7 years ago, I discovered these guys. And I'm on a budget, and these guys produce some very nice knives for budget guys. I own a lot of BPS knives. I really liked them. I did a lot of reviews on them. I tried them out and I was so impressed. This one, however, was not a budget knife. I spent $100 on this one, which is unusual. It was a special they did, and the name, I can't pronounce it. Anywho, here it is, and you can see the sheath. Their sheaths are awesome. Thick, heavy-duty, well-made, and when you look at their knives, you're going to look at the knife and you see how much they want for the knife and the sheath, and you're thinking the sheath is worth what they want. The knife is a huge bonus. And here it is here. And you can see it has that hammered look to it. This, like I said, was a special from them. Beautiful, thick steel here, the blade. Very nice. It's basically a Scandi style ground. Straight, beautiful handle. Very nice wood. And it came with a piece of the steel that they made the blade from on the lanyard. Very nice. And like I said, for me, kind of pricey. Now, you remember I said Keith said he didn't like finger jams a lot, just one. And if I do one here, I'm okay. But to me, it feels more comfortable with the finger jam being on this finger. And if I do that, look where this is. But this works. It just doesn't feel as comfortable. But that's just me and my hands. But a beautiful knife. Very nice. And like I said, I own a bunch. You're looking for a nice, solid, budget knife for camping. Have a look at BPS knives out of Ukraine. Like I said, I looked at them a long time ago when they first started making their name. Family in Ukraine, and then of course with the war and everything, they became even more popular because they actually got a contract with the Ukraine military, and they did a lot of donating towards helping Ukraine. So they became very popular. And here we have another one, Ontario knife. This is the Rat 3. Very popular. I can't remember where this came from. I believe it was a mail call, but you know, I'm guessing. Came with a bunch of stuff, and of course Kydex sheaths. And you can see it here. Very small, compact. You can see Randall's Training Adventure Rat 3, D2 Steel Rat 3. The Mikado handle, which is nice because what they do with the Mikado is they put that, I want to say hemp or whatever you want to call it, in it, which gives it the grip. But you can see when they smoothed it down, they went a little bit past, which is an oops, I think. The thing I don't like about it is the handle is just too thin. You see here. I think a bit of a belly here would have helped. But it is a nice, well-made knife. And, you know, it's Ontario. Unfortunately, we all know what happened to them. And that, of course, was the Rat 3. Next one here is a Joker. And yep, everybody thinks that Joker makes folders only. Ha! And they do. They make folders. Very, very nice folders. They are European. A lot of their stuff is similar to what you would find in Europe. So keep that in mind. You might want to look at them. These guys are out of Spain. I'll show you the sheath. These guys do a very nice job. Look at that. Look how thick and sturdy this sheath is. And finally, a dangler. And here you can see big long lanyard on it, bone handle. and it's a Nessmuk. Very nice. Stainless 14C28N, Spain. Beautiful, beautiful blade. Look at that big grind on it, that big sweep, typical Nessmuk. Very comfortable handle, nicely cleaned up and rounded. Makes for a nice camp knife, this does. Slicey, hunting, you can't go wrong with this style knife. And that's Joker. This is a favorite style for me. I like the Nessmuk. I think it's a really well-made blade, well-designed, thought-out blade. And, you know, Joker. Hey. Now, here's an interesting one. It's a Smith & Wesson. It's actually the Smith & Wesson SW650. And if you put that in to Google, you will come out with a revolver. Not only that, they made a lot of different versions of the 650. And you can see it here. This one has a wood handle. Look at that. Brass. Yep, need to do my maintenance. And you can see the wood handle, brass, I believe, backing on it. Nice blade, swedge. You can see the Smith & Wesson logo. Oops. Made in the USA. Nice knife. Nice and big and heavy duty. What does that say on there? Yeah, Smith & Wesson. It's not Smith & Weston. It's a double S. Wesson. I didn't know that. You hear people say, do you have a Swiss & Wesson? Or a Swiss & Weston? They put the T in. It's a nice knife. Nothing wrong with it. The sheath is the original Smith & Wesson. Bowie Survival. And it has that drop clip snap on it. Very nice, big thick brass guard. Nice camp knife. You know, once again, we're getting to maybe not as old, more modern. Pretty sure everybody knows these. I believe I actually bought this knife. Maybe. No. I think that maybe this may have come from the Knife Doctor. Can't remember. It was a while ago. Ha! I've been looking for this. My camp hammer. I knew I had a heavy duty one. Now I know where it is. Yeah, you shouldn't batten, by the way. Knives aren't really designed for that, no matter what people say. If you do, don't be abusive. This is way softer than the actual blade. And here you have the ESEE Kydex, and I believe that, yeah, it is the ESEE LS. I think they say PD on it, I'm not remember. Made in the USA, Rowan. It's a very nice knife. Laser strike, that's the word I was looking for. It's not a bad knife at all. It's heavy duty. You can see I took it out for a test run. That's why that was in it. Actually worked very well. If I remember, it was a winter trudge. Very nice. Grippy handle and all that good stuff. Anybody know what that's for? Put it in the comments. I know. Hopefully you do. I'll show you again. So there you go. The ESEE. I just wanted to show you this one. This was actually a birthday gift from my brother. And this is a Forseti steel. and it's very pretty, very cool. Gives you all the info. Look at the blade. Is that not pretty? Now I can tell you I'm not a fan of this, but I really like the pattern on this. It's very cool. Nice wood handle. See that? It's got your huge opening here so you can get your hand over. Gives you a lot more control on the knife. You're over the blade, and it's fairly safe. You've got to be careful about that because, oh, slicey. And you can see the engraved steel in the handle, and of course that pattern. Very pretty knife. Very well made. I like this. It is a USA made, and it's Forseti. Now I'm going to show you something where so many manufacturers do this. Now this is a pretty solid sheath. It's well made. Nice pattern on it and everything. It's got this on it, and that's it. I think they could have done more. They did quite a lot on this, but so many manufacturers will tend to make a beautiful knife and then do a very quick job on the sheath. This one's not as bad, but this shape, I'm not sure. I think they could have formed it a little bit better maybe. But it is nice. It's a beautiful knife. And like I said, a birthday present from my brother. He can afford it. Yeah. I'm the poor relative. Comes in a nice box. Very cool. Forseti, they're out of, I want to say they're in California. I'm not sure. Now we're going to get into knives I actually used a lot. This here, and you can see it's a Browning, right? A very basic, this leather, and I forget what you call this. Not so great, but it works fine. The thing I didn't like is the rattle. And a lot of modern knives have this style, but see this? When I first decided to go back into the wilderness after my disaster, medical disaster, I decided I need to change my lifestyle and go back to where I came from, and that was the bush, the woods, whatever you want to call it. And I needed a knife, I needed a camp knife, because I was kayak camping a lot. And I didn't want a big knife in a big sheath, because I'm sitting in my kayak a lot and too big gets in the way. This turned out to be one of the best buys I've ever made, and it's a Browning. And the reason is the handle. See this handle? It's like rubber, almost. This is hard, but the edges are like rubber. And you see the shape of it? It is one of the most comfortable handles on a knife I've seen or used. And I use this guy a lot. Beautiful knife. It worked really well for me. It did come with a sharpener, kind of. Not a fan of this, but for in an emergency, it'll get you through. It's magnetized in there, by the way. But I use this a lot. If you've seen my really old kayak camping videos, this is what I carried. Browning. Great knife. I don't think they make it anymore. Now we go camp in Oahu. This, and you can see, beautiful sheath, nice and sturdy, no dangler. The only issue I have with this knife, and it is made by Condor. And one of the most recognizable bushcraft knives you can find. El Salvador. Condor. And it is the Bushlore. And it has been copied more times than you can shake a stick. Now, if you do bushcraft, I'm not talking camping, but bushcraft and survival and that sort of thing, this knife is designed to do every chore you need in a camp and bushcraft, making things, traps, things like that. It's a great knife, and I carried it for years and years. Beautiful knife. It's a little beat up, but what a knife. If you're looking for a knife for survival and bushcraft, can't recommend this more than any other knife. It's called the Bushlore. Condor. Probably one of my most favorite knives. Besides this guy. And this sheath is not the original sheath. This is actually a GCS sheath, which came with a huge big Tanto knife, Tanto blade. I just saw it was on sale and I bought it, and I really like the sheath. It's nice and heavy duty. And this knife was one of the first knives I spent $100 on. Actually, it was $9.99. So there, I didn't. Oh, the taxes. And this is a Knives of Alaska bush camp knife. And this is what I carry today if I go camping. I've carried it for years, and it's a thing of beauty. The blade style, and it's as sharp as a razor. It's D2 steel, Alaskan bushcraft camp knife, D2 steel, made in the USA. Just sturdy enough for some serious abuse. Nice solid handle that doesn't get slippy or anything. Great knife. I have done, if you watch my camping videos, you'll see me using this. I batten it to make wood and for a fire and that sort of stuff. It's sharp enough for hunting that you can skin with it. Beautiful knife. Knives of Alaska. The bush camp knife. A thing of beauty. One of my favorites, and of course, I have a fire starter, which I made and put the handle on. California Coastal Sage. Now, these ones are kind of unusual, not your norm. Bought them out of interest and wanting to know more about them and other things. And this is a kukri. It's not your normal kukri. I did a special order on this one. Handmade in Nepal by the Kukri house. You can look them up online. And it is a small kukri. It's not your normal size. Can see it's all handmade, very cool, wood handle. Actually, I think, yeah, this is wood. I think they do a bone or horn, and your typical kukri. And it for me, I wanted to see if I could use it for camping, and you can. I did. I even tested it out. You can do everything you need for camping on this, including cooking, fire prep, and anything else. And if anybody knows what that is for, let me know in the comments below, because I looked it up and there were 17,000 different reasons for that. But this one was handmade. They sent me all the information. They updated me. Yep, I bought it direct from them in Nepal. And what paid way too much for it was about $100. But it was worth it. It's got some weight, nice and thick, very, very cool. It did come with the original Kukri handle, the common one, the one you'd normally get, which I believe is water buffalo hide. And it has a wood insert in there actually to protect the inside, if you were wondering. This was an accessory which I bought just because I prefer this style to that. They call it their Western style. Very cool, very nice knife, and it's just, you know what, I own a Kukri, so there you go. Very cool. Was well made. I'm impressed with it. These guys actually have, or had, I don't know if they still do, the military contract for the Gurkha battalion in England, and that's where obviously this became so famous with the Gurkhas during the Second World War, and the First, I believe. And then I have this guy, and you go, well, what's that, George? If I was years younger and a Boy Scout, and I wanted a fixed blade, this is what I would have gone with. And it is a Mora. Sweden, it's a classic. Very cool little knife. I would have thought as a Boy Scout, this is what I'd like to carry, because why? It's cool. I can't remember where this came from. I don't know if it was a mail call or I got it at a antique store. The sheath I made. I kind of looked it up and saw what they did and kind of based it on that. And I just think it's such a cool little knife. If I knew a Boy Scout out there who impressed me, I would certainly consider giving this to him. It is a classic. It is vintage. But very cool. Just thought you might see that. So there you go. A very quick look at some of my fixed blades. Like I said, I don't do a lot with them. You don't need to do a lot of maintenance on them. These are due. I need to go through, clean them all up, and put coating on them. Leather is not a friend to steal in muggy places. It sucks up the moisture, and you start to get very quickly get a buildup, especially on carbon blades. So there you go. So there you go, campers. A look at some of my fixed blades. I had a lot of comments on people asking me if I actually look at fixed blades. Not so much lately. One of the reasons is that I don't camp as much as I used to. Back in the day, I would wander around the outdoors with a tarp and a hammock. Find 2 trees, put up the hammock and tarp, and spend the night there and just fiddle around in the bush. Getting too old for that. So I bought me a camper. So the need for that knife has gone away. But I still carry them with me when I do go camping, because I still like to prep fires and keep in form doing that sort of stuff. I loved doing that stuff. So, there you go. If you're wondering, I do have fixed blades. More than you think. Just saying. You all be safe out there. Those big fixed blades, ooh, you make an oops with one of those and you're in trouble, because they come sharp and they're big and heavy and cut a lot better. Just saying. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back looking at some special campers here that I need to clean up. And interesting to look at some odd things about them. They don't exactly look the same, which is surprising. And I went and looked through all my campers, and yeah, they're not all exactly the same. So there's that. Thanks for watching. Always appreciated. And we'll see you again soon.